I'm your co-host, Steve Carty.
I'm your other co-host, Nick Scopoletti.
Brian Rage Chris.
Rage is back.
Brian,
the mics are hot. Variation number 1, the deadlift. The conventional deadlift.
I think personally, if you're going to pick one lift to ever do again, it's a fight between the deadlift and the clean. I really think it's
Why is that?
It's a close call.
Any deadlift or from the floor
the
deadlift?
conventional from the floor deadlift.
From the floor.
Oh yeah.
So you're
absolutely.
a fan.
Oh yeah, big fan. That's all I do.
Okay. So why?
I think it works everything, and you need perfect mobility and stability to do it.
So essentially, you got to be able to get in that position.
Yeah, it's a hard position to get into. If you take someone who's never done it, you can try to get them to hip hinge and set their back and set their posterior chain. It's really difficult. I was gonna say, when Steve asked what one of the biggest mistakes is with the deadlift, excuse me, I think it's the fact that people are afraid to get into a little bit more of a knee bend from the floor from the get-go. I don't think that's a problem. I think it's appropriate. I think when you're pulling anything over 315 into the 4s and 5s, 6s, if you don't start with a sufficient knee bend, it's not coming off the floor. I've rarely seen someone do like a strict RDL with 500 plus pounds unless they're, superhumanly strong.
Dave Tate, who know a lot, West Side guy, owns Elite FTS. He said, if you're pulling over 90% in the deadlift, full recovery,
That's what I was just going to
3
ask.
weeks.
So why?
Easy.
Why is such a long recovery with the deadlift?
I think it's such large muscle groups and it's such a compound movement that neurologically you're taxing yourself even more than you are physically sometimes.
So the muscle essentially like the recruitment of...
It's just so great. That's why I said between that and the clean, it's a really close call.
Number 2, sumo deadlift.
Love it.
So what is the sumo deadlift?
Interesting about this, the sumo, before we go. I actually read that when it comes to vertical jump height, this is more of a carryover than conventional.
No shit.
Yeah.
Why?
I think there's more adductor recruitment in this.
More upright.
Okay.
Yeah.
Adductors
Upright
meaning
torso.
what? Just like
Inside of the thigh muscles.
Inside of that,
yeah,
okay.
let's keep it, basic. Just inside of the thighs, get more work with those.
If getting feet narrow into that conventional position is tough for you, now sumo deadlift, you're spreading your feet. You're essentially making yourself shorter. You're making your legs shorter, right? Yeah. You're not going as far to the floor. So you're
like going wide on a bench.
Exactly, right. Yeah. Exactly. You're not going as far, and therefore with your legs wider, you don't have to pull as far up.
Yeah.
Right. So it's almost like it's if you have trouble with range of motion with a conventional deadlift, a sumo deadlift is gonna help shorten up that range of motion. Number 3, the rack pull. Can't pull from the floor.
Go from the rack.
Pull from the rack.
Why not?
So why would you not be able to pull from the floor?
If you have mobility deficits, if you just can't get a hip hinge right away, it's a good teaching tool for the rack pull. It also, you can overload the rack pull to allow your deadlift to go up higher as well.
True. Number 4, the RDL.
RDLs, in my opinion, are an easy way to directly focus on lengthening the hamstrings with tension.
Okay.
Which is a huge way to build muscle and build posterior chain strength.
Word.
And again, the biggest thing I find with RDLs is you can do them easily with dumbbells, and for some reason, most people are more comfortable with dumbbells, so they do the movement better, and it just makes things easier.
Yeah, word. Number 5, the snatch grip deadlift.
I don't know anything about this.
So the snatch grip deadlift. Hey, I don't do Olympic lifting. Why would I do a snatch grip deadlift? Yo, I'm telling you right now, if you want to engage your lats, you got to do snatch grip deadlifts.
This is by far the best exercise to get your shoulder retractors working, without a doubt. You will depress and retract your scapula, or you can't do it.
Number 6.
Hot mic.
Single leg deadlift variation.
What you get is the hip stability being on one limb at a time. So you do recruit more stabilizers in the hip essentially to do this workout.
Gotcha.
And you got to throw in the balance deficit, and it's overall a really good workout. And I always recommend it to people who also have trouble pulling from the floor. If one of their hips rises a little bit, if they kick out a little bit to one side, if they are asymmetrical in their lift, if they shift to one side, this is a great equalizing lift. And it's also really good if you're coming back from any kind of injury to work your way back into being symmetrical again.
Number 7, deficit deadlifts. This is an interesting one.
So now, as opposed to the rack pull where you're decreasing the range of motion, now you're increasing the range of motion. So
how do you do that? You go through the floor? Number 8, the trap bar deadlift.
Trap house.
The majority of the trap bars have a raised handle on one side to allow you to pull higher, and people are more comfortable with their hands at their sides to pull.
Yeah.
Generally. Not all, but most are more comfortable in that position. And you can get into a bit more of a squat position, which people are, again...
More upright torso.
Yeah, and they're more accommodating. It's more accommodating to them. It looks more familiar to them.
Yeah.
As opposed to this heavy hip hinge dominant movement.
Number 9,
Again, I don't discriminate.
kettlebell and dumbbell deadlifts. What particularly about the swing do you feel is the carryover to the deadlift? Why do you think that's so effective in strengthening your
There's
deadlift?
so much eccentric control needed from your hamstrings and glutes to swing properly that when you do it, it just builds those. It elongates them over tension, builds the fibers in the hamstring, just allows you for a much better, cleaner pull. And it gets you to snap the hips better too when you pull and finish that movement.
Number 10 and final, the good morning, the classic good morning.
What about the great morning?
What is it about the having the barbell on the back going into that hinge that fires up your hamstring so much?
I think just the point of load. It's just the
Levers,
lever angle is so far away.
Yeah.
Lever.
Yeah. Like you're hinging here and that bar is on your back. That bar is coming so far away. Like if you think about a conventional deadlift, you're pulling that bar. It's super close to your body, right? Super close to your hips the whole time. You want it as close as you can.
You want it touching your legs.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? This good morning is...
Now you're backloaded, bars on your barbells on your back. You go into that hip hinge, that bar is super far away from that fulcrum right there. Yeah. So
I definitely recommend starting with like a PVC pipe with these.
Want more of the Strength Students podcast? Go check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, make sure you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and on Stitcher. Stitcher, I just met her.